Hey, welcome to the TV channel, and today we'll be doing a different video. We'll be reviewing the BT-06 Booster Double Diamond as the card list has been reviewed today. So let's take a look at the first card here, which is a Demi Maramon. Now, Demi Maramon is a red Digitama which does give +1 KDP when you do attack the player, which is actually pretty neat if you are playing a non-level 6 kind of red deck. Basically, you're going to start aggroing at level 4 or level 5, which just promote different playstyle for red, and I do like it. And for the next one is Kyromon, which is actually just a very simple draw power, but instead of when attacking, you're actually able to just draw one when evolving, which is pretty neat, I would say, because discarding Digisource for blue now has been, I would say, strengthened, and with the new stuff introduced in this set. Now for the next one, we do see Bibimon. Now this card is actually one of the more weaker Digitama, I would say, because not a lot of cards do benefit from the 3 security cards, and do mind that it's just exactly 3 security cards. Aside from Dynamsmon, there's not really much synergy there, and I do hope they will introduce a Pulsemon Mega Evolution so that we can actually see this card in action. For the next one, we do see Pinamon. Basically, when you attack the Digimon, you're actually able to draw one, and I don't know if you will play this over the old Digitamas, because old Digitamas does give you +1 KDP, or the Agumon, which does give you additional memory. Because the value from the draw one won't really help green, but then again, in a TCG game, drawing is always nice. Now we do move on to the black one, which I do like personally for the Brigade in my opinion, because it does have a similar effect to Tentomon from the green deck, but instead of being on place, it actually went delete. So for your D Brigades, you do want to play this because you'll be crashing to the security most of the time, and you're actually able to blast off them. So what's not nice about that? Next, we do see the Sunomon, and it does have very awkward ability. Basically, when you trash a card in your hand using one of your effect, you can actually draw one. Now I will still prefer Demi Maramon here, but then sometimes you don't want your purple Digimon to actually crash in security, so I can see why people want to play this. So it does help the security, or it does help the discarding mechanic of purple now, so we might see play. Next, we do see Agumon, and this is the Agumon you do want to have when you are going for the Agumon Born of Bravery here, because it does give security attack +1, and red is always loving the security attack. It does have a very strong ability, basically making a tamer cheaper by 1 cost. So that's something to take note of, and this is basically a staple if you are playing the Agumon Born of Bravery. Next, we do see Sharpmon, which I do really like because it does have a draw ability, and it's a Sharpmon itself. So when you play Sharpmon and you do have the old Sharpmon from the previous set, you're actually able to find this Sharpmon as well, increasing the consistency of the search. Next, we do see Hakmon. Hakmon is very nice and one of the stronger rookie in my opinion for red because of his huge ability to actually search to Hakmon, Systemon or Jesmon, and do note you can actually add up to 2 of the same one, which is different from the Sharpmon because Sharpmon can only add 1 of each. And this rookie is just super nice. Basically, it gives a lot of consistency for the deck, and I will expect Jesmon to be somewhat tier 1 in the future to come. Next, the Flamemon, a hybrid rookie, so take note of that because it does help the legendary 10 warriors, giving it piercing, and do note that your Ancient Greymon do benefit from this, which is very important because Ancient Greymon lack the piercing, which makes it very weak in my opinion, and now it has this rookie that is a hybrid itself, so it does give that +1 security attack and a piercing. So that deck will come into play definitely for sure, and because it's a hybrid, you do play the old Flamemon, which will be able to hit into this card fairly consistent. Next, we do see the Bao Hakmon. Now this Bao Hakmon does have a very strong inherent ability, allowing you to actually delete one of your opponent Digimon 5 KDP or less if you do have a Systemon on field. And Systemon, there's currently a total of 8 cards for you to play, and that is quite a lot if you ask me, and the level 5 will actually call Systemon for free, so this deck actually might be very strong, and I'm gonna really predict again, once again, it's gonna be tier 1. Next, we do see the vanilla here, nothing special, Deltamon, and it's just a 2-cost evolution, and I would really still prefer playing the 1-cost 6k vanillas, because when you do play vanilla, the idea is to actually just evolve cheaply and quickly go to your level 5s, But if this is a level 5, then this might be considered, but it's just a level 4, so not really. Next, we do see the Mega Dramon, and this card is very interesting because it makes you be able to be flexible in your deck building. You're actually able to play black base or red base, and splashing this card allowing you to play level 6 Mega Evolutions from the black and the red card pool. And it does have a very strong inherent ability of giving you plus 2k DP. This card is fairly nice. Next, we do see the card that is very strong, I would say, which does benefit from the Digitama that we mentioned earlier, the Asuramon. It does have Blitz on level 5, so you can actually hit pretty early, but I'm not too sure whether you will survive the hit in this current format when this set does release, because 8k DP is not really a lot, but it can bump up to most likely 11k DP if you do play the Agumon, which does give you plus 2k power and you do attack the security. So that's something to take note of. You know, early game aggro might be the new thing in the future. Next, we do see the Savior Hakmon, which I do mention just now, where you're actually able to Digivolve. You actually play Systemon from free from your hand. And Systemon do have a very nice on-place ability, either to draw one or to gain one memory, so take note of that. And it does have an inherent ability, basically, that if you have a Digimon Systemon in its name in play, you can actually unsuspend this Digimon, basically making your Jasmon a 2-hit monster. Man, Jasmon, man, number 1, Jasmon. Now the MVP of the card, man, Jasmon itself. Now it does have only 11k DP, but we'll be taking a look at Systemon that does help to benefit or boost this card to a very huge power. But let's look at it. It's a very simple ability. Basically, when you attack, you actually play Systemon from the drop zone or hand. So do note the drop zone part, because sometimes your Systemon does die and you can actually revive your sisters. And if you do have another Digimon in play, this Digimon does gain plus 3k DP and piercing. And man, piercing, you know, Red is getting all the piercing it can get, and piercing is very strong because blocker just, you know, you just basically ignore blockers. Number 1, tier 1. Next, we do take a look at Magna Kidmon, one of the 3 Musketeer cards, and I would say the 3 Musketeers is actually a very interesting mechanic, or rather interesting type to play, and it might be a deck in itself because they do focus a lot into the option of 7 costs, and there are plenty of 7 costs in my opinion, and there's cards like Kokai's Breath and even a new black option which does basically wipe the board. So something to take note of is it might be a very underdog deck. We shall take a look in the future to come. And now let's talk about Agumon, Born of Bravery. Man, a level 7 red 3-cost Digimon, sign me up, man. Basically, it does have 2 abilities. When you attack and if you have Tamer in play, you're actually able to delete one of your opponent Digimon with 13k DP or less, almost like an antibody, close enough. But the second ability is what makes it very strong. Basically, when an opponent Digimon is deleted, you actually traps the top card of the security stack. And man, the hour alone, man, you definitely want to play this. And it's just a 3-cost evolution, which might be better than Omimon in certain scenarios, but we shall see. It's actually one of the better cards to play than Omimon just because of the 3-cost evolution. And it's a red Digimon as well, so it does benefit from Tai Chi, which Omimon doesn't. Now let's finally talk about Blue. Gabumon means the main card to play if you are playing towards Gabumon Bond of Friendship here, allowing your Gabumon Bond of Friendship to actually swing 3 times because of the inherent ability. So let's talk about it more when we talk about Gabumon itself. And the same ability, when you do play a Tamer, Match Cheetah specifically, you do gain 1 memory, making it a 3-cost Tamer, so it's quite nice. Next, we do take a look at Gizamon. Interesting ability. When your opponent has no Digimon with Digi Evolution cards in play, this Digimon gain plus 2k DP. You can actually have your Improdramon even hit 14k sometimes, but to take note, the condition is that your opponent must have no Digimon with Digisource. So if they have at least one, you don't gain the ability. But I would say this ability is actually very nice, and it's what Blue actually needs because Blue does lack power. So this might be a fall off in the future to come. Next, Motoki Betamon. Oh, you basically can't gain memory except for Tamer effect, so it's basically a Gassimon. A very annoying card, I would say, but now Blue has it, so Blue can play against other people and make them annoyed. Next, the hybrid Strabimon. Not the best in my opinion because it just mainly gives 1 memory. I still do prefer the red one because piercing is so much better, and plus 1 memory isn't very nice. I mean, it's always good to have memory gain, but I don't think you will actually forsake your rookie space to play this because there are better rookies to play. So there's that. Moving on, another vanilla, same thing. You do want to play the 1-cost evolution, and if it's just a level 5, this might be played, but sadly it's not. So let's talk about Mojamon. Now this card does have a very neat ability in itself, which is a jamming, but your opponent must have no Digimon on the field. But then if you take a look at the ESS effect, you do realize that this card has been seen in quite a number of blue cards, but this one is slightly better in my opinion just because it does have its own original ability, making it so that it is a standalone very strong card, and you know you can even play Digimon, so why not? Next, we do take a look at the next level 5 Panjamon. Just gaining memory, and it's a level 5 unfortunately, but take a look at that hardcore cost though. Potential, I would say. Next, Dragomon. Very interesting. Basically, when you Digivolve, you actually return one of your opponent level 4 or lower with no Digi Evolution cards to his owner hand. I'm not too sure whether you'll play this because there is a better one in the form of the Gagomon, Digibursting 2 instead, and it does have a better inherit than this, so the fact that it doesn't have an inherit for this makes it very wow, I would say, and not exactly a prioritized card. Now, this is a card that you want to play. It does have a very strong Digivolve ability, basically just trashing one of your opponent's Digi Evolution card from the top though, so you know the Wargroundmons is going to be gone, and the second ability is what is really making it so strong, the ESS. Basically, you're actually able to reboot. Now, blue can actually finally attack more than one time now. I mean, it used to be able to do it, but it does have a tedious process in the form of the Meta Guru and the Gurumon. But now, almost all your level 6 can actually do that now, so that's very nice. Now, Pokemon. Very interesting ability, Digibursting 2, and then your Digimon can't be blocked by opponent Digimon this turn. And I can actually see this being played in a jamming deck, mainly the Hippodramon, because this card is just allowing your V-Mons to be attacking the security, and your opponent will just have to look at the security and just like, man, I can't block that rookie. It just sucks, you know. But I would say this card is very interesting. Definitely will be played in variants, in the Rust variants especially. Next, Azulongmon. Man, this card, when it first came out, I would say it caught my attention. Because it does have a very strong ability of actually gaining memory for each of your opponent Digimon with no Digisource. So there's a potential that this can be almost free. And if you do play the Rookie Inherit, which does have the same ability, you actually gain memory one more time. So with 4 Digimons, you see a free level 6 evolution. And sometimes free in this game is very strong, as we can learn from green downloads. And the second ability, quite interesting, gaining security attack +1 for each Digimon without Digisource. So this card potentially can hit for 5 security as well. Man, that's a new card for blue, and this will spice up things in my opinion. Next, we do see the Gabumon Bond of Friendship, which does have a different ability from the Agumon one. Basically, you can just restand, very simple. But the second ability is what makes it very strong. Basically, you can actually bounce off opponents level 5 or below to the bottom of your opponent deck. Man, that's just making them rage quit in my opinion, because blue finally gets more abilities to actually bottom deck opponent instead of bouncing to hand, which bouncing to hand doesn't really do too much, although it does reduce the tempo or stop the tempo of the opponent. But I would say it's quite lacking in my opinion. Next, you do finally move on to the yellow here. Tinkermon. Very interesting ability. Basically, you do want to suicide with Tinkermon here, and one of your opponent Digimon will basically gain security attack -1. Now, of course, you're basically playing the level 4, which will call back Tinkermon in the old set. I forgot the name, but that card will actually synergize with this well, because last time Tinkermon is basically just a vanilla, but now it does have a very strong on-division ability, which makes her more of a threat in my opinion. Next, we do talk about Tapiamon. By the form of yellow, not so strong, I would say. When a card is moved from a security set, you do trigger draw 1. I might be mistaken though. Basically, yellow, I have not seen how yellow will actually move on from the Lord Nightmon builds, because Lord Nightmon is just too good. I will basically wait for meta list to actually show me how good Tapiamon can be, but Tapiamon in purple is just MVP. Next, we do look at Pulsemon. When this card was reviewed, it was very interesting. We were very much hoping for a Pulsemon level 6, I would say, but unfortunately we do not have it. But it does have a very interesting on-play ability. Basically, you can actually trash your security stack until you left 3. Then you gain memory for each security card trash. Not too sure what kind of scenario you want to be left with 3 except having the abilities. Especially look at the Digivolve effect, the ESS. You give jamming to the unit you have. But I'm not too sure whether yellow do benefit much from jamming. So moving on from here, Wizardmon. Now all the purple Digimons are going to yellow now. And basically when your card is removed from the security stack, you gain 1 memory. I would say very interesting because if you were to play toward the Mastermon, it's very easily a 3-cost evolution now instead of the 4-cost, which makes it more playable in my opinion. And we might see, we might see purple-yellow synergy incoming. Next, we do see Baluchimon. On play, when you do have 3 or fewer security cards, trigger draw 2. I immediately think this is just a Rookie Rush card. I could be wrong because of the cheap 4 costs. It might even be a Shine Greymon card, but I'm not too sure whether a Shine Greymon player want to play this when it doesn't have any inherit and it's 2-cost evolution and there's basically more 1-cost evolution in the level 4 department. Next, we do look at Mingmon. Another interesting ability, basically just a 2-cost level 4. Now this might be playing Shine Greymon because you do want to burst out your Shine Greymon, and this might have the ability to do that. So something to take note of for this card. Now Bugmon, the Pulsemon level 4, and it does just give you 1 security attack +1. And now maybe I do see it now. Basically, it's just a rush version of yellow with the level 4 because the level 3 do give you jamming, but I'm not too sure, whether it just cuts it because it's just a level 4. We shall see the future boost. Monkey King, 8mon. What's interesting is that it's AKDP, still vanilla, but it's just AKDP. Man, AKDP is huge, man. Maybe this because they favor yellow? I don't know. Next, we do look at Mammothmon, level 5. If you do have 3 or fewer security, this Digimon gain 1 KDP. It might seem like a black effect, but it's actually because the level 6 does benefit from this, because level 6 is actually a blocker. So you'll take a look at that. Next, we do have Mistymon, with an ESS effect of when your card is removed from your security stack, one of your opponent Digimon minus 2k. Not too sure how strong it can be. Honestly, not very. It's a level 5 and there are a lot of level 5 precious space. So most likely a fodder card. Moving on to the next card, we do see Manticomon. When attacking, you actually trash the top card of the security stack to have one of your opponent Digimon get minus 5 KDP. A mini War Greymon, but actually when you swing with a level 5 like this, most likely it's gonna die. But it's actually could be used as a hardcore card given a 7 cost. Something to take note of, I guess. Future yellow decks. Next, Babamon. Man, this card is interesting because you actually can play 1 Rosemon upon deletion or up to 2 yellow level 3 Digimons, 2 Lucemons for death of 1 Babamon, then value. Next, we finally see the Skull Mammothmon. As you guys can see, it's a blocker. And when you do have 3 or fewer security, this Digimon gain +2 KTP. A 13k blocker is fairly nice. And with the inherit is 14k blocker. But I'm not too sure whether people will actually play this, because if you are playing blocker, you might as well play black. Next, MVP of the card, I would say Dinosmon for yellow. Its Digivolution effect is not exactly to be wild at, because you don't really want to go for it. I mean, it's good. It does add consistency for your deck, but many people are actually playing for the second effect. It's basically when your card is moved from your security stack, and if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you actually recover +1. And this card is basically screaming to be hardcore in a security control deck because it's 12 cost and it's yellow, and there's a lot of yellow spells or yellow options in this game that's introduced in this set that makes security control very strong. Now we finally move on to the green here, Bakumon. When attacking, if your opponent has 2 or more suspended Digimon gain memory. Not too sure how well this card will be, but it's interesting nonetheless. 1 cost 5k. But 1 cost the Evo though, not too sure for the card, but Rookie Rush, love it. Mothmon. So this card is basically the new Aeosmon, I would say. This new deck type that is introduced in BT-06. Not too sure how well is it going to be yet. But having this rookie basically does add consistency for the deck, but it does remind me of Diaboromon, and Diaboromon isn't doing too well in my opinion. So moving on, level 4 3 cost hardcore, something to take note of, but I'm not too sure whether Green will actually play this, but we never know, you know, we shall see how things evolve. We finally get Arbomon, which is the Aguni and Lobomon clone. So Mimi finally got used after your Digitama has been fully used. Another hybrid Digimon, but in the sense that it's 3 costs in this case, and it does have piercing, and it does have 7k DP, which does allow you to hit overblocker, which is interesting. But I'm not too sure why you will not play this instead, because you do want to have just one more Digimon to attack, and 2 cost evolution is slightly better. Next, we do see the Toro Piamon. When attacking, suspend all your opponent Digimon with 5k DP or less, and I would say this is actually quite interesting. But then there's a card called Lilymon, 2 cost evolution some more, and it just rests Digimons without seeing the DP. Although one might complain, or one might argue that this one can potentially rest a blocker, but I guess the scenario is quite limited, I would say. Next, we do see the next level 5. Once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent Digimon, you can actually suspend it. So it's a Dimension Scissors built into it, but sadly it's not an inherent ability, it's a being cut effect. So it does allow you to actually have a very early game aggression, board control. So something to take note of. Next, we do talk about Eldrimon, a tortoise. And it just have a very simple security attack +1 effect, but the second effect is what makes it interesting, and I would say it's a very late card. When yellow was dominating, this card should have been released and green would have dominated, but now it's too late. People don't really... I mean, it's still good, but in this set alone, people are going to play security control. And I'm not too sure how well this card will do, but the next card though, Ancient Troymon. Now, this have a very interesting ability whereby when opponent Digimon attack during their turn, you can suspend up to 2 of the Digimon without blocker. Basically, they can only attack 1 time for every 3 Digimons they have. So, which is a very interesting way of deterring them. And it might even be played in security control due to the hardcore ability of it. It does have a very interesting on-deletion ability, basically to play the hybrid, which does remind me of Ancient Greymon and Ancient Garurumon. But not a very amazing level 6 that you want to evolve to, given that it's 5 costs. But the first skill alone does allow you to actually have a store deck. Not too sure what you're storing for though. Finally, you do move on to black, one of my favorite colors, Junkmon, Audition Game 1 Memory. It's just telling you to actually play your Digimons now to actually suicide now. Not too sure how I feel about that. Now, this is a very strong card and I would say very underrated. The Chikurimon, basically on de-evolve security. Sometimes when opponent do swing with their Digimons, and like for example they swing with their Sharpmon, which does have a high security count, and then suddenly they hit into this landmine, I would say, and then suddenly they get Digivolve. So Digivolve can now happen in the opponent turn, and it's not in the form of option now, which is nice because when you do play option in your deck, you do remove some sort of consistency. And having Rookie means you can actually evolve it, and it does play like a both hybrid card in a sense. Next, Toyagumon, which does give +1 KTP if you do have a blocker. Craniumon maybe? Craniumon may be coming back, especially in this set, because Craniumon does have a very strong ability against security control. Nanimon, not too sure why. Aside from the 3 costs maybe, but nah, 2 KDP, I'm not too sure about that. Okay, Magmon. So they introduced a new ability called the Decoy in this set. Not too sure how well it will be, basically making everything Craniumon. I mean, yeah, you do have a second body to play with, but I'm not too sure how well you'll do. That's my concern, and we shall see how people may actually abuse this card to prove me wrong. Next, Deputymon, the 3 Musketeers support. Basically, you can reveal the top 4 of a card of your deck, add 1 Digimon with 3 Musketeer and 1 option card with a 7 cost option cost to your hand, and trash your remaining card, and this Digimon can evolve to a 3 Musketeer in its type in your hand for memory cost of 6, ignoring its Digivolution requirement. Now, this basically screams to be just 3 Musketeer deck, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm not too sure how well the deck will do, but Security Control might be a better version for it. Next, Giga Dramon, similar to the red one, but instead you do get the plus 2k during opponent turn instead. So people might actually be able to come up with a very interesting black-red mix deck. So I'm very excited to see that. Next, the Volcanomon, security attack +1 if opponent does have an unsuspected Digimon in play. Interesting, I would say interesting. Might work with Blastmon, but not too sure how well you'll benefit from a security attack. We shall see, we shall see. Vanilla 10k, I don't know why Black gets it now. It's just a fodder card in my opinion. Moving on. Mamemon. Now this card, same ability Decoy, but it does have a second ability that makes Decoy so strong. It's basically when it does die instead, you're actually able to deplete one of your opponent's card with a play cost of 7 or less. So that is actually very nice because it deters your opponent to actually kill off your card because you're going to trade off almost like a Zord defeat. So SR potential for sure, very nice. Next, Gundramon, the 3 Musketeer one. Same thing, casting option with 7 cost or less. 7 cost, sorry. And if you trash your remaining card of the top 5, then if you don't cast the option, you're actually able to delete one of your opponent with play cost 4 or less. Not too fancy, 4 or less doesn't really have a lot of targets here. But the main thing is actually it's a blocker, so something interesting I would say. Next, we do get Power Volcanomon. So this card does have a reboot, so that's something to take note of because you can actually have reboot abilities to buff it. But the second ability is what makes it very strong, or rather very interesting, is that when your other Digimon is deleted, you can actually trigger a Digivolve 1 on your opponent. So you can actually create a blocker deck and have your blocker die, and you de-evolve their potential level 6. So opponent will be more hesitant to swing. So this is a very annoying card to deal with actually, and might be an MVP for Black in the future time. Next, Gankumon, the SR and much needed level 6 for Black, because it's a very nice on Digivolve effect, basically deleting all your opponent cards to your lowest play cost. And this card alone in its existence will make opponent actually rethink about how they're going to push out the nursery or even just play Digimon in general, because now they can't have basically flexing all the Omimons on the field, and then you just splash, just call this down, and suddenly all their Omimon is gone. It does have a very nice second ability as well, basically giving you security attack +1 when opponent does have an unsuspected Digimon. So mainly for the first skill, and you can actually abuse it with Zord, so that's very nice. Now finally you do move on to purple, Imon. Now Imon does have a very strong ability, basically on play you can trash 1 card from your hand if you do return 1 Digimon with 7 Great Demon Lord. In this case currently only Bizamon and Lilithmon, or 3 Musketeer. So basically this is a 3 Musketeer card more than anything. So very nice. Goblimon, when you do trash a card, you do gain 2k DP, and 2k DP is quite a lot. So I would say this card is definitely a must play in Titanmon decks. Given that Titanmon is already going to be hitting the security with high critical, you do want to give it as much DP as you can. Next, Electmon, when it dies, you delete one of your opponent level 3 Digimon. Deleting Lucemon is what I want to do. But interesting, Electmon. Now next, Kinkakumon, a level 4. When you do attack, you can able to trash one card in your hand to delete one of your opponent level 3 Digimon, killing Lucemon again. But jokes aside, actually that's very nice because purple does struggle a bit against Rookie Rush. So having this new card does give them the hope to actually overcome them. Next, Orgrimmon. On play, you're actually able to trash 1 card in your hand to delete one of your opponent level 4 or less. It's a 5 cost to play, and if you play Mastemon, you're actually able to revive this from the drop zone, or even the Neobone. So actually, no, Neobone don't activate this, so sorry. But you get the idea. Not too great I guess, but you know, can kill off opponent blocker, which is nice. Next, Kinkakumon, the other Kinkakumon. Level 4, when you do discard a card in this turn, you do gain 1 memory, very nice. And they do have a promote version which does synergize 2 of them together. A vanilla 7k, nothing much to speak about. I do prefer if it's 1 cost. Now this is the card that I was talking about, Kinkakumon promote. Do know that this have rush, so if you do hardcore rookie and you evolve it straight away, you're actually able to swing the same turn, so something to take note of, and 6k DP does trade nicely your blockers. And you're actually able to place the Kinkakumon and the Ginkakumon from your trash to discard evolution source. So actually able to gain the ability of discarding one to destroy all of your opponent rookie, and actually able to gain 1 memory off that. And if you do place 2 cards, you do draw 1 and gain 1 memory, so very nice. Basically making it just a 1-cost evolution or free if you do evolve on level 4. This might create a lot of spicy deck for purple in the future. Next, another vanilla, 3 cost, 5 level 5, not too sure why you will play this. Maybe because you like the aesthetics, but there's a lot of strong level 5 for purple now, with better inherit. Rebellimon. Now this Digimon can be treated as black as well. And when you Digivolve, you can actually trash 1 card in your hand to have this Digimon gain blocker. And it does have the Vengeance. So I guess a blocker Vengeance, and it can be treated as a as a black as well. So yet again, you can actually play something cool, basically a level black base into a purple level 6. Not sure how well you'll go to, but you know, it's very nice they're actually introducing dual mix color now. Sculptgreymon. Now this card does look very nice, and for his artwork, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. It does have 2 abilities though. When you place this card in your hand using one of your own effect, you actually can place it into your purple Digimon. And when attacking, you actually may trash 1 card in your hand to have this Digimon plus 3k. I don't think you will be using the second ability so much. But the first ability is nice because you do gain an ESS skill of Retaliation, basically Vengeance, to your level 6. Or even level 4s. Basically, you can just give things to your Digimon Vengeance at will, which might replace Devimon, which was a staple in purple for quite a long time. Next, Momoxmon. Mainly for the synergy with the bird on the next card. It does have Vengeance, and when you on deletion, you're actually able to call the bird from the drop zone. So nothing fancy, nothing much to talk about. Basically, an interesting deck, fun deck I suppose. The bird itself, Onispawn, which does have a very strong on-play ability, destroying all your open level 5 or lower Digimon. Now, hard calling decks might be the future, I would say. It has already been in place, but now it's just synergized even more. It does have a very simple security attack +1, but you're not going to evolve it either way, mainly to synergize with your previous card and the hardcore ability. Next up, the Titanmon. Very nice, 11 out of 10 for artwork. When you do Digivolve, you actually can trash 1 card in your hand, and then you can play 1 level 4 or lower from your trash without paying its memory cost. So you can synergize with the blocker killing level 4. And once per turn, when you do trash a card in your hand, you actually can let it gain 2k and +1 crit. So if you play with the Goblimon, you actually can make it 16k DP, which is very reliable because in this game the highest DP is currently 15k, so 16k is nicer. Man, this card is going to be strong. But it does have 4 costs, but if you do play with the Kinkakumon, it's actually making it only 3 costs, so that's something to take note of. Now finally, we move on to the white Digimon, Systemon Blank. Now this has a very strong blocker ability and does have a on-place draw 1. So Systemon, Jesmon, Tier 1. Eosmon. Now this is basically just to play Tamer for free, and with an ESS skill of you actually able to play 1 Tamer card for free once again. So we'll be talking about a Tamer in a later minute, I would say. The next Systemon. All your Digimon with Hakmon in their name or Rare Knight gain +2k DP and gain 1 memory on play. Jesmon Tier 1. Now Eosmon, the one that you can play up to 50 copies of it, which most likely you won't. But it does have a very strong ability whereby you can actually play a level 5 or lower Eosmon when you do attack. And the ESS does something fancy, just +1k DP. Mainly for the next card, which is the Eosmon level 6. For each Tamer in play, you actually may be able to place 1 level 5 or lower Eosmon from your trash to the top of this evolution. If you place 2 cards, you can actually delete 1 of your opponent Digimon. Very nice because there's no restriction to what you can delete. The second ability, which does have, for every 3 evolution card this Digimon has, it gains security attack +1. So on average, this might be a confident 6 cost. I mean, 3 critical, I would say. Yeah, 3 criticals only. Interesting deck, I would say, but not too sure how well you'll do. Next, Tai Kamiya Tamer. When you do push out a Greymon Agumon from your breeding area to the battle area, you actually get able to draw one and gain one memory. So very nice for the benefit for the nursery gaming. And my apologies, it's actually just a 3-cost tamer. So if your Agumon and your Gabumons, you're just making a 2-cost tamer, which is very sick. Now, second ability is what makes it very strong. Basically, you can transform your Agumon into the Agumon Born of Bravery by trashing 2 cards of the top of the security. And if you have 1 or more security cards during the end of the turn, you actually must delete the Digimon at the end of the turn. So basically, it's just like a last resort card. But if you use it well, you actually get a very strong tempo changing card. Next, Mac Ishida, but same as Tai, but for Gabumon and Garurumon, and for Gabumon form of Branch Sheep. So same ability, very nice. I like the foiling though. Next, TK Takashi and Kari Kamiya, the new yellow dual tamer. And if you do have left field security in an opponent, you gain 2 memory, which is a very easy condition to achieve. So Shine Greymon support. And when your yellow Digimon do attack, you actually be able to sustain this tamer to have 1 of your opponent Digimon get -1 KDP. Shine Greymon don't really benefit well from the second ability, but I would say this is nice. You know, this is nice. Yellow has been lacking. Not like they lack a good tamer before, but you know, they have to be buffed somehow, I guess. On the black one, you do gain 2 memory when opponent do have 2 or more Digimon in play. Interesting ability, I would say. Interesting condition. And when during opponent turn, when one of your black Digimon is deleted, you're actually able to draw 1 of it. So sadly doesn't synergize well with D-Brigade because you only do draw 1 during your opponent turn. And this is mainly for a blocker version. So very nice. Next, the purple one. The condition is that opponent must have no level 4 or lower Digimon in play to gain 2 memory. I would say the condition is quite hard to hit, but the second ability might make it worth to play. Basically, you're actually able to discard 1, draw 1. No, sorry, actually just draw 1, then you discard after. So actually it makes it more better because you can actually look at your whole hand size and then discard after. Next, the Eosmon White Tamer. Do know that it's a white tamer, so it does screen potential for if you do want to play the flow of summoning Omimons, because it does have a very strong basic ability to guarantee 3 memory for you. And when you do play a Eosmon, you're actually able to suspend this card to reveal top 3 of your deck, add 1 tamer on a Digimon with Eosmon. So a lot of synergy there. But the second ability is what makes it quite interesting, I would say, because when you do have an Eosmon in play, your opponent tamer don't unsuspend during an unsuspend phase. So Shine Greymon counter anyone. Next, now the options. The options in this set is just too strong. So let's talk about the first one, the Judgment of the Blade. One of your Digimon with Hakmon in his name or Royal Knight in his deck can attack one of your opponent unsuspended Digimon. So it actually can give your Omimon to able to attack your opponent's unsuspended card. Interesting, but the security effect is what makes it stronger, I would say, because you're actually able to play a Systemon from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost, then add this card to hand. So a very nice sudden ability. You can actually suddenly gain more memory of Systemon and pass to your turn, which can caught opponent off guard. Next, the Red Reamer. Deleting one of your opponent Digimon with 6k DP or less, and the opponent has 3 or more, actually delete 113k or less. So a very cheap and even better Gaia Force in some scenarios. And the security effect just activating this card in effect, so that's nice. Next, we do talk about the Happy Bullet Showering, and yes, this card is, I would say, dumb because you're actually able to delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. It does synergize well with 3 Musketeer, but that's not the point. The main point is the ability to delete all the opponent Digimon with lowest DP. With the lowest and the highest thing, basically if opponents don't really control their board cost well, their board is going to get wiped. And the security effect, of course, is to activate the main effect. So sudden board wipe during your turn is always nice to see. Forbidden Trident. Give your Digimon to actually bounce level 3s. Not very sick as compared to the Jasmine one, but I could be wrong. But most of the time, you don't really have space to play options in blue, in my opinion, other than Hammer Spark. Next, now this Howling Memory Boost. This has a very interesting ability whereby you're actually able to discard your opponent's Digisource, 2 Digisource, And then one of your Digimon with no Digivolution card cannot attack or block until the end of opponent turn, and this does have the set ability to gain extra memory. So if you do have the inherit Digimons, the inherit rookies, you're actually able to gain cast hit for almost just 2 costs most of the time. So that's nice. Next, we do look at Radial Star. Returning one of your opponent level 5 or lower Digimons to your owner's hand. Then if your opponent has 3 or more Digimon, it's basically a stronger Cockata's Breath, given that it's bottom deck. Very nice actually. It might be played in blue if you are playing towards the control matchup. But if you are playing control, I would still think security control is still the better one. Next, Exit Injection might be a rookie rush card because you are actually able to kill a blocker. If they play 6k blockers, that's good for them. But other than that, I don't really see much use for it, other than killing off your own security to activate Pulse Mind abilities. But not too sure about that, so sorry. Next, Reinforcing Memory Boost. Now this card has synergy for security control, not so much for yellow decks in general because it's 6 costs to play, although it does give you back 3 memory at the end. But reviewing top 2 card, if your top 2 card happens to be 2 rookies, you're pretty much screwed in my opinion. So this card is definitely better with security control because healing 1 is always good, and gaining 3 memory for security control means they can extend their plays. Next, a Gaia Force for yellow, so you can kill off Omimon or Craniumon even better. Thanks Bandai. That's all I can say about this card. It's too good. Next, Hammer Spark, but a more complicated version. You choose one of your opponent Digimon, and if you kill it, it does give you 2 memory. So it's good for decks whereby you do want to extend plays. And I would say people might actually play this card to extend their plays in green, so I see this card has potential. Blasted Disaster, suspend all your opponent Digimon, then gain 1 memory for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon. Now this card is screaming. Actually, this card is very strong in my opinion because you're actually able to suspend all your opponent Digimon, and if you do have a strong inherit in the sense of Dimension Ceases, strong option, you're actually able to block your opponent very easily now. Unfortunately though, the security effect is just a very simple, weaker Flower Cannon, or is it just a Needle Spray? So not sure. I'm not too sure whether you'll play this, but it's definitely introduces a very interesting option for green. Next, Parabolic Junk, another Hammer Spark but more complicated, basically forcing your Digimon to die. Might be playable in Deep Brigade, but I'm not too sure whether you want to clutter your cards or whether clutter your deck with more useless options. Now, the Go-What Smurf, I don't really know how to pronounce that, but this is a 3 Musketeer card because you are actually able to, it's a 7 cost option for sure. Deleting all Digimon with 7 costs, play cost 7 or less, so board wipe, but it does affect your board as well, so do take note of that. Unfortunately, this security effect is add this card to owner hand. Not sure why they nerf it, maybe because it's black. But the next security though, Iron Fisted Onslaught. Now this is basically the red one, but better for some people because you're actually able to straight up destroy the highest cost. So if opponent do flex with their own mons, it's all gone, and the security effect is activating the main effect. So sudden board wipe in your own turn. That's nice. Next, a Glaive Memory Boost, but basically returning a purple Digimon card from hand to your trash, from your trash to your hand. So interesting. It does give you, basically this card is supposed to be played with the Grey Mons. It's called Grey Mons and Titan Mons, and it might be played instead of Memory Boost, the one that came in a team deck. Not too sure how well both will. Not too sure how to say which one will be better, but you have to play to find out. Next, Underworld Core, the hour is sick, 12 out of 10. Titanmon. This is a Titanmon card. Basically, when you do trash this card, you can draw 1. And if you cast it during your main phase, you actually may play 1 purple level 4 or lower Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. So, very interesting, I would say, because it does give you the I would say incentive to discard this card to draw 1, and the security effect is actually just to call 1 Digimon, so a Night Raid, very nice. Next, another strong 3 Musketeer option, Trump Sword, but doesn't really matter whether they are suspended or unsuspended. And of course, its security effects activate the main effect. So I'm not too sure why the black one is the one that's getting nerfed. Maybe because it's a board wipe, but the red one is already a board wipe itself, so there's that. The Eosmon, you can see a Diabromon there. Eosmon option, sorry. You're actually able to play 1 level 5 or lower Eosmon from hand, then delete one of opponent Digimon with DP less than or equal. So high chance just a 6k deletion. But I like the artwork. You can see Diabromon there. Lastly, to the secret Digimons. Firstly, Alphamon. This card artwork is nice. It's very nice. But unfortunately, it doesn't do really much. But I'm gonna try. It does have a very strong security effect. And now on the battle, add this card to your hand so it doesn't die to your drop zone. And if there's a Digimon with Royal Knight or X antibody on the field, you're actually able to choose 12 of your opponent Digimon and they can't attack the player for a turn. So a sudden, I would say, good security effect. And for the on-attack ability, you actually can pay up to 5 memory to give this Digimon plus 1 KDP. So it can actually hit 16 KDP on its own, healing off Omimons, like in the anime, I guess. And the third ability is what makes it better, I would say, gaining 2 memory, so basically you can actually able to extend your turn. But sadly, this doesn't really feel too strong yet. Maybe it will get future support, but that's about it for now. Next, now this secret is what secret is actually called, the Bella Starmon, or I call Boopmon. 3 Musketeers, and when playing this card from hand, you actually can reduce this for each 3 Musketeer Digimon card and option card with 7 costs in your trash. So it might be potentially a 0 cost Digimon, which is definitely not very common, but it's possible. And when you do play this card, you're actually able to return 1 option card with 7 costs from your hand, from a drop zone to your hand, and actually able to cast it the same turn. So sudden Trump Sword anyone?